Shalom Israel. I want to start off by giving all praises to Yahawah, by Hashem, Yahweh Shai. Double honors to the apostles and elders at Great Millstone, and blessings to the elect. It's the brother Yahawah from the Great Millstone Dallas camp. Basically what I want to go into today, you see it on the screen. Your arms are just too short to box with the Most High. You know what I'm saying? And there's plenty of examples in the scriptures that prove that to be true. You know, you got Pharaoh, Nebuchadnezzar, Antiochus, Herod, just to name a few. You know what I'm saying? With us being in all these different captivities under all these different nations, you have examples of kings that were ruling at certain points in time in history over the Israelites that they ended up being proud, thinking that it was them, not giving credit to Yahawah Yahweh Shai until he actually put them in their place. You know what I'm saying? And Lord willing to be edified, I want to go in 2 chapters. Maybe this will become a series. Who knows? But there's been plenty of examples of men coming up against the Heavenly Father and losing bad. So we're gonna go into Daniel chapter 3 and Daniel chapter 4, and use Nebuchadnezzar as this example. As a man whose arms are just too short to box with the Most High. And I'm gonna try something a little different on this go around. I pulled up the Bible.is and the audio Bible with drama. I'm gonna let the audio Bible with drama play, and I'm gonna stop at certain points to break things down or say my viewpoint on it. And the reason for me doing this is so hopefully you brothers will get a better context of what was going on at that time. When you're reading the scriptures, the punctuation and knowing when to put emphasis on certain words and things like that, it makes the understanding pop, so to speak. You know what I'm saying? It actually gives you a visual and puts you in that place to where your understanding is made more pure, for lack of a better term. So we're just gonna go ahead and get straight to it. I'm start out with Daniel chapter 3, and then we're just gonna break this thing down. Hopefully it won't be too long, but if it is, hopefully it's edifying. So without further ado, let's get into the lesson. Your arms are too short to box with the Most High, using Nebuchadnezzar as the first example.
Daniel chapter 3. Nebuchadnezzar the king made an image of gold, whose height was 60 cubits, and the breadth thereof 6 cubits. He set it up in the plain of Dura, in the province of Babylon. Then Nebuchadnezzar the king sent to gather together the princes, the governors, and the captains, the judges, the treasurers, the counselors, the sheriffs, and all the rulers of the provinces to come to the dedication of the image which Nebuchadnezzar the king had set up.
Okay, now going into this chapter, Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, is basically gathering everybody up, bringing in everybody to give him the lowdown on this statue that he had created in his image to be worshipped since he was in rulership. You know what I'm saying? And so it's to show you he had the princes, governors, captains, judges, treasurers, pretty much people of importance. All the people that were under him that needed to get his word out about worshiping this statue that was made in his likeness.
Then the princes, the governors, and captains, the judges, the treasurers, the counselors, the sheriffs, and all the rulers of the provinces were gathered together unto the dedication of the image that Nebuchadnezzar the king had set up, and they stood before the image that Nebuchadnezzar had set up. Then an herald cried aloud,
To you it is commanded, O people, nations, and languages, that at what time ye hear the sound of the cornet, flute, harp, sackbut, psaltery, dulcimer, and all kinds of music, ye fall down and worship the golden image that Nebuchadnezzar the king hath set up.
Now you see, when you're in rulership, you know what I'm saying, you can do things of that nature. You know what I'm saying? Just like how the Lord promised that we was gonna be able to set up our kingdom under the law, statutes, and commandments. You know what I'm saying? Talk about how we're gonna force the other nations to abide by the law. You know, when you're in rulership, which Nebuchadnezzar was at this time, you know, this is him flexing his rulership. You know what I'm saying? Letting people know who's in charge. You see, he said anytime you hear music, anytime you hear any one of these instruments, you know what I'm saying? Nigga, pull out a harmonica and get to playing it. You got to bow down and worship Nebuchadnezzar. You know what I'm saying? But when you're in rulership, you can do that. You know what I'm saying? The Most High put him in a position to where he felt that he had that power, you know? And what comes along with power? Pride comes along with power, you know? And as we read on, you're going to see how Nebuchadnezzar's pride bubbled up, you know?
And whoso falleth not down and worshipeth shall the same hour be cast into the midst of a burning fiery
You see that? You know? Hold on, let me finish the sentence.
furnace.
Now, he's basically saying, if you don't bow down and worship, if you hear any one of these instruments played and bow down to Nebuchadnezzar, you're going to be thrown in the fiery furnace, you know?
Therefore, at that time, when all the people heard the sound of the cornet, flute, harp, sackbut, psaltery, and all kinds of music, all the people, the nations, and the languages fell down and worshipped the golden image that Nebuchadnezzar the king had set up. Wherefore, at that time, certain Chaldeans came near and accused the Jews.
You know what I'm saying? So you had people that was abiding by his law to worship Nebuchadnezzar every time they heard those instruments being played, you know? And then you had the Chaldeans that came to accuse the Jews because they recognized that we wasn't going for that. You know what I'm saying? As soon as they saw that we wasn't worshiping them, well, that's just like America. How they if you see somebody during the Pledge of Allegiance or the national anthem not have their hand over their heart or not standing up, you know, it's a problem. It's the same thing today, you know. Same thing it was back then with Nebuchadnezzar, you know what I'm saying? Instead of putting your hand over your heart, you know what I'm saying, and crying or do whatever you do when the national anthem come on, he wanted you to, when you hear that certain music, to bow down and worship him. You know what I'm saying? And it was working for most of the people, but then you had our people, you know what I'm saying, that wasn't going to be able to do it, you know.
They spake and said to the king Nebuchadnezzar, O king, live forever! Thou, O king, hast made a decree that every man that shall hear the sound of the cornet, flute, harp, sackbut, psaltery, and dulcimer, and all kinds of music, shall fall down and worship the golden image. And whoso falleth not down and worshipeth, that he should be cast into the midst of a burning fiery furnace.
Now, you hear that? You know what I'm saying? Does that sound familiar? The Lord say, worship him or die. You know what I'm saying? Through fear. The fear of the Most High is the beginning of wisdom. You know what I'm saying? So if you don't fall down and bow to the Most High, you're subject to get burnt up. You know what I'm saying? And this is what Nebuchadnezzar was saying. He thinks he's the most. He think he's the Most High. At this point, he's so proud. You know what I'm saying? And he's and the herald. You know, he jumped up there. You know, you hear how excited he was. And whoso falleth not down and worship, that he should be cast into the midst of a burning fiery furnace. You know what I'm saying? And you can hear how serious he was to him by the drama that's portrayed in this Bible app. You know what I'm saying? It gives you a more visual of how serious it was. You know, sometimes when you just reading it, you know what I'm saying, the words don't pop. You know, but we are visual people. We see. We see certain things when we hear certain things. You know what I'm saying? You hear certain things and images pop up in your head. You know what I'm saying?
There are certain Jews whom thou hast set over the affairs of the province of Babylon, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego.
Now see, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, they had prominent jobs. You know what I'm saying? Verse 12, it says, there are certain Jews whom thou hast set over the affairs of the province. You know what I'm saying? The province is like a state. You know what I'm saying? You got your mayors, you got your governors, you got your senators, you got your presidents. You know what I'm saying? Earlier in the chapter, it was talking about how the sheriffs and everybody came. You know what I'm saying? So Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego had these type of jobs. You know what I'm saying? And the snitch, the dude, he's like, there are certain Jews, you know what I'm saying, that ain't bowing down. So basically, they went to go rat them out. You know what I'm saying? Just like how they do today. If you ain't got your hand over your heart during that national anthem, they gonna pull your ass out that crowd and ask you what's up. You know what I'm saying? It's the same thing with these brothers, with Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego.
These men, O king, have not regarded thee. They serve not thy gods, nor worship the golden image which thou hast set up.
You know what I'm saying? But you see how serious he is about it? You know what I'm saying? He don't want to go snitch. He said, King, they have not regarded thee. They not serving. You know what I'm saying? They don't worship the golden image that you set up. But the reason why is because our power is higher than Nebuchadnezzar. Our power is higher than a so-called white man. You know what I'm saying? That's why the Lord say, be obedient unto death, and I'll fight for you. You know what I'm saying? Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, even though they had higher positions in the Babylonian Empire, they still pledged their allegiance to Yahawah Shem Yahushai. You know what I'm saying? And it's the same way today. Yeah, you have to do certain things. You have to do certain things, but where do you draw the line? You know, people like to use Romans to say obey the powers that be. But at the end of the day, you're gonna have to cut that off eventually and get with Yahawah Shem Yahushai. You know what I'm saying? And that's just the truth of the matter. Why would the Lord tell you to strive for the truth unto death if that didn't mean nothing to him? You know? He already hold the power of life and death. He gonna bring you back. He done promised you all these things. And Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego understood that. And they wasn't about to go against the Heavenly Father. You know what I'm saying? No matter what. And we're gonna keep reading.
Then Nebuchadnezzar, in his rage and fury, commanded to bring Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Then they brought these men before the king.
You know what I'm saying? Now Nebuchadnezzar, he got all pissed off. He like, look, no, you bring them to me. I said, whenever y'all hear these songs, whenever y'all hear these instruments being played, I need you to bow down. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego saw otherwise. You know what I'm saying? Because they feared a higher power. You know?
Nebuchadnezzar spake and said unto them,
Is it true, O Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego? Do not ye serve my gods, nor worship the golden image which I have set up?
You hear the pride in his voice? You know what I'm saying? When you add the drama of the audio Bible, and you can hear the pride in his voice, and you can hear the fear in their voices, and you can hear how they was where the punctuation is supposed to be used. You know, commas, semicolons, colons. These things are important because the way you chop it up, it makes it better to understand when you read it right. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you got brothers that just run all the words together and miss the understanding of what's being said. But when you stop and pause at the semicolons and colons and commas and things of that nature, especially along with the audio Bible. You know what I'm saying? Have you ever read a book and then saw the movie? You know what I'm saying? If you see the movie first, you're not gonna want to read the book. You know? But if you read the book first, because any good book is gonna make you. Most movies are books first. You know what I'm saying? So to be able to put yourself in a position to understand what was going on by using the punctuation and using the inflection in the voices and what was going on, it's easier to understand, at least for me. You know what I'm saying? I can only speak for myself. But you know, like Apostle Elder Gabal usually goes into how we have to read these scriptures and put ourselves in that time frame. You know what I'm saying? And I can actually see myself in the room with Nebuchadnezzar, proud as hell. You know what I'm saying? Oh, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, you not gonna worship me? You not gonna bow down like everybody else? You know? And he was hoping that their fear of him was gonna outweigh their fear of the Most High. And it didn't work like that.
Now, if ye be ready, that at what time ye hear the sound of the cornet, flute, harp, sackbut, psaltery, and dulcimer, and all kinds of music, ye fall down and worship the image which I have made? Well, but if ye worship not, ye shall be cast the same hour into the midst of a burning fiery furnace.
See that? You know? You like, look, I'm gonna play this music one more time. You niggas either gonna worship or you ain't. If you don't worship, I'm gonna burn your ass up. If you do, you cool. You know? And you know Israelites don't do well with ultimatums. You know? Especially a man of the Lord, which these brothers are. You know what I'm saying? Because Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, don't think for 1 second they ain't back. You know? They back here today, man, doing the same thing back then. Standing up for the strength and power of Yahawah Yahawah.
And who is that God that shall deliver you out of my hands?
Did you hear that, pride? Nebuchadnezzar asked Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, what God is going to pull you out of my hand? The nerve of that devil, man. You know what I'm saying?
Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego answered and said to the king,
O Nebuchadnezzar, we are not careful to answer thee in this matter. If it be so, our God whom we serve is able to deliver us from the burning fiery furnace, and he will deliver.
That's what you call faith right there, man. You know? They say we are not careful to answer thee in this matter. If it be so, our God whom we serve is going to deliver us from out of that burning fiery furnace. So, you know, he will deliver us out of your hand, O king. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? You got to have faith to be able to speak to the nobles like that, man. You know what I'm saying? To be able to tell the king, look, you talking about who going to pull you out? I'm telling you, Yahawah going to pull me out your hand. You know what I'm saying? And they wasn't afraid to tell him that.
Us out of thine hand, O king. But if not, be it known unto thee, O king, that we will not serve thy gods, nor worship the golden image which thou hast set up.
You know what I'm saying? Now, they already been telling everybody that if you don't worship Nebuchadnezzar, if you don't worship this image, that they're going to kill you. They're going to put you in a fiery furnace. And they told Nebuchadnezzar to his face. You know what I'm saying? Because at first, the dude that snitched was like Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. They ain't bowing down. They ain't doing nothing. There they go right there. You know what I'm saying? So at first it was just like how brothers go out on the highways and byways. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes the laws come up, sometimes they don't. You know? But it's only a matter of time before we brought in front of the king, according to what the scriptures say. You know what I'm saying? And the Lord said, I'm going to put the words in your mouth. So don't worry about what you're going to say when you're in front of them. Look like that happened with Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. You know what I'm saying? The Most High put the spirit on them to say, look, we're not going to worship you. We're not going to serve you. And we're not going to bow down to that image that you set up. It is what it is. Do what you got to do, you know? And that's a heavy spirit to be in, man. You know, when your life on the line, man.
Then was Nebuchadnezzar full of fury, and the form of his visage was changed against Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Therefore he spake, and commanded that they should heat the furnace 17 times more than it was wont to be heated.
Now you see, now he's trying to intimidate them even more. You know what I'm saying? He was already talking about putting them in the furnace, but now he wanted to be even hotter. You know what I'm saying? Giving them time to stew and giving them time to think about their decision. You know, and he's actually trying to buy time for them to bow down, because now he's about to look foolish in front of all these people if they don't. You know what I'm saying? If they don't bow down to him. So now he's trying to save face. So he's going to pull out all the stops, you know.
And he commanded the most mighty men that were in his army to bind Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, and to cast them into the burning fiery furnace. Then these men were bound in their coats, their hosen, and their hats, and their other garments, and were cast into the midst of the burning fiery furnace. Therefore, because the king's commandment was urgent, and the furnace exceeding hot, the flame of the fire slew those men that took up Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego.
You know what I'm saying? He had his mightiest men to jack them brothers up and throw them in the furnace, and the furnace was so hot it burnt them niggas' ass up. You know?
And these three men, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, fell down bound into the midst of the burning fiery furnace. Then Nebuchadnezzar the king was astonied, and rose up in haste, and spake, and said unto his counselors,
Did not we cast 3 men bound into the midst of the fire?
They answered and said unto the king,
True, O king.
He answered and said,
Lo, I see 4 men loose walking in the midst of the fire, and they have no hurt.
Now, you see that pride that was in his voice earlier in the chapter, you can't hear it that much. Now that pride is starting to turn into worry, because, you know, seeing is believing to a heathen. You know what I'm saying?
And the form of the 4th is like the Son of God.
Then Nebuchadnezzar came near to the mouth of the burning fiery furnace, and spake, and said,
Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, ye servants of the Most High God, come forth, and come hither.
You see that? Now he's amazed. You know what I'm saying? Because the strength and power of Yahawah Hashem Yahawah is the reason why Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego told him that they wasn't going to bow down to his image. They wasn't going to bow down to his statue. You know? He's seeing that power of why they believe in the God, and he's recognizing that power now. Because it's been proven, you know? And it's the same thing today, man. All these scoffers and all these dudes that's talking whatever they talking, all these Edomites that's talking whatever they talking, all you other nations, when you see that power, you're going to recognize, man. You're going to see. You know, like the brother Yahawah like to say, we gonna see, man.
Then Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego came forth of the midst of the fire. And the princes, governors, and captains, and the king's counselors, being gathered together, saw these men, upon whose bodies the fire had no power, nor was an hair of their heads singed, neither were their coats changed, nor the smell of fire had passed on them.
Now you gonna tell me that didn't boost them brothers' faith up? Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego? Just hearing that story does something to me, so to actually be that brother, you know what I'm saying? To actually be in the king's face and tell him, no, I'm not gonna bow down. He telling you he gonna kill you. He put you in the furnace. You unsinged, no burn marks, you don't even smell like smoke. The dudes that brought you to the damn furnace, they already got burnt up. You watched them burn up. Yahawah stood in there with them, man. Yahawah stood in there with them brothers. Dig that, you know?
Then Nebuchadnezzar spake and said,
Blessed be the God of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego.
Blessed be the God of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, who sent his angel. You know what I'm saying? That's talking about Yahawah and Yahawah, man. You know?
Who hath sent his angel, and delivered his servants that trusted in him, and have changed the king's word, and yielded their bodies that they might not serve nor worship any god, except their own God. Therefore I make a decree that every people, nation, and language which speak anything amiss against the God of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego shall be cut in pieces, and their houses shall be made a dunghill, because there is no other God that can deliver after this sort.
Then the king promoted Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego in the province of Babylon.
You know what I'm saying? The Most High got to get down and lay down spirit, man. You know? It's only a matter of time. You can only do so much before he finally show your ass, man. You know? We're gonna get chapter 4. You know? We're gonna get chapter 4 too.
Daniel chapter 4.
Nebuchadnezzar the king, unto all people, nations, and languages that dwell in all the earth, peace be multiplied unto you. I thought it good to show the signs and wonders that the high God hath wrought toward me. How great are his signs, and how mighty are his wonders. His kingdom is an everlasting kingdom, and his dominion is from generation to generation. I, Nebuchadnezzar, was at rest in mine house, and flourishing in my palace. I saw a dream which made me afraid, and the thoughts upon my bed and the visions of my head troubled me.
Okay, now in this chapter, you know what I'm saying? Nebuchadnezzar, he had a dream, you know, that nobody could interpret. You know what I'm saying? And basically he used Daniel to break down the dream, you know, because the Most High always gave the men of the Lord the edge against the demons, against the devil. You know what I'm saying? And the fact that Daniel could interpret these dreams, the Most High was giving Nebuchadnezzar these vivid dreams, but he just didn't know what they meant. So Daniel's basically his spiritual power was to be able to interpret that dream, which gave him a high position, you know, in the Babylonian Empire.
Therefore made I a decree to bring in all the wise men of Babylon before me, that they might make known unto me the interpretation of the dream. Then came in the magicians, the astrologers, the Chaldeans, and the soothsayers.
Let's see, none of these people could make it happen. You know what I'm saying? The magicians couldn't interpret the dream, the astrologers couldn't interpret the dream, the Chaldeans couldn't interpret the dream, neither could the soothsayers. You know?
And I told the dream before them, but they did not make known unto me the interpretation thereof. But at the last Daniel came in before me, whose name was Belteshazzar, according to the name of my God, and in whom is the spirit of the holy gods. And before him I told the dream, saying, O Belteshazzar, master of the magicians, because I know that the spirit of the holy God...
Belteshazzar is Daniel, you know. I know y'all brothers know that, but just in case there's somebody that didn't.
...gods is in thee, and no secret troubleth thee. Tell me the visions of my dream that I have seen, and the interpretation thereof. Thus were the visions of mine head in my bed. I saw, and behold, a tree in the midst of the earth, and the height thereof was great. The tree grew, and was strong, and the height thereof reached unto heaven, and the sight thereof to the end of all the earth. The leaves thereof were fair, and the fruit thereof much, and in it was meat for all. The beasts of the field had shadow under it, and the fowls of the heaven dwelt in the boughs thereof, and all flesh was fed of it. I saw in the visions of my head upon my bed, and behold, a watcher and a holy one came down from heaven. He cried aloud and said thus, Hew down the tree and cut off his branches, shake off his leaves and scatter his fruit. Let the beasts get away from under it, and the fowls from his branches. Nevertheless, leave the stump of his roots in the earth, even with a band of iron and brass, in the tender grass of the field. And let it be wet with the dew of heaven, and let his portion be with the beasts in the grass of the earth. Let his heart be changed from man's, and let a beast's heart be given unto him, and let 7 times pass over him. This matter is by the decree of the watchers, and the demand by the word of the holy ones, to the intent that the living may know that the Most High ruleth in the kingdom of men, and giveth it to whomsoever he will. And
see, that's where these heathen they get beside themselves, man. You know, the Lord put you in a position to rule. You know what I'm saying? Because of His punishment for us going on. You know, the Lord put Nebuchadnezzar over us as a punishment, but Nebuchadnezzar got proud. You know what I'm saying?
Setteth up over it the basest of men.
And if you ain't an Israelite, man, if you ain't in the spirit and power of Yahawah Hashem Yahushua, you a base man. You know?
Dream I, King Nebuchadnezzar, have seen. Now thou, O Belteshazzar, declare the interpretation thereof. For as much as all the wise men of my kingdom are not able to make known unto me the interpretation, but thou art able, for the spirit of the holy gods is in thee.
Then Daniel, whose name was Belteshazzar, was astonied for 1 hour, and his thoughts troubled him. The king spake and said,
Belteshazzar, let not the dream or the interpretation thereof trouble thee.
Belteshazzar answered and said, My lord, the dream be to them that hate thee, and the interpretation thereof to thine enemies.
Now you see Daniel called Nebuchadnezzar Lord. You know what I'm saying? Even though he was not going to bow down to his image and not bow down to his statue, he called him Lord because he was the power to be at that time. You know what I'm saying? But he was in need of Daniel's help. You know? But see, Daniel called him Lord because he understood the time he was in. Yeah, I'm not going to bow down to this image or this statue, but you know, this dude actually is my Lord. He's in rulership right now. You know? And you can't get carnal. You can't get carnal while you reading these scriptures, man. You know what I'm saying? Daniel called his enemy Lord, man.
The tree that thou sawest, which grew and was strong, whose height reached unto the heaven, and the sight thereof to all the earth, whose leaves were fair, and the fruit thereof much, and in it was meat for all, under which the beasts of the field dwelt, and upon whose branches the fowls of the heaven had their habitation. It is thou, O king, that art grown and become strong.
See, now Daniel is going to break this thing down for him. You know what I'm saying?
For thy greatness is grown and reacheth unto heaven, and thy dominion to the end of the earth.
You see that? Your greatness is grown. It reaches unto the heaven. Thy dominion to the end of the earth. You know what I'm saying? You got that type of power. You're going to have that type of pride, you know?
And whereas the king saw a watcher and an holy one coming down from heaven and saying, Hew the tree down and destroy it, yet leave the stump of the roots thereof in the earth, even with a band of iron and brass in the tender grass of the field, and let it be wet with the dew of heaven, and let his portion be with the beasts of the field, till 7 times pass over him. This is the interpretation, O king, and this is the decree of the Most High, which is come upon my Lord.
See, this is why Daniel wasn't afraid to tell him. You know what I'm saying? This is the decree from my God, You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you my Lord. Yeah, cool. But no. My power is stronger than you. My power is giving me the ability to interpret these dreams. And this is his message to you.
The king, that they shall drive thee from men, and thy dwelling shall be with the beasts of the field, and they shall make thee to eat grass as oxen, and they shall wet thee with the dew of heaven, and 7 times shall pass over thee, till thou know that the Most High ruleth in the kingdom of men.
I'm going to turn you into a straight up beast, and I'm going to leave you like that until you recognize and know that I am the Lord.
And give it to whomsoever he will.
I gave you the kingdom, Nebuchadnezzar. You know what I'm saying? I gave you the kingdom. And I'm going to put you, I'm going to get in that ass until you understand that. You know? And he used a man, he used Daniel to tell him.
And whereas they commanded to leave the stump of the tree roots, thy kingdom shall be sure unto thee, after that thou shalt have known that the heavens do rule. Wherefore, O king, let my counsel be...
So the heavens do rule, man. Your arms too short, bro. Your arms are too short, man. I say whether you are in a rulership position, or whether you a nigga on the comment board, or whether you or whoever you are, man. You gonna know, man.
Acceptable unto thee, and break off thy sins by righteousness, and thine iniquities by showing mercy to the poor, if it may be a lengthening of thy tranquility.
All this came upon the king, Nebuchadnezzar. At the end of 12 months, he walked in the palace of the kingdom of Babylon. The king spake and said,
Is not this great Babylon that I have built for the house of the kingdom by the might of my power, and for the honor of my majesty?
What?
You hear that pride, man? That pride, man. That pride ain't no joke, man. You know what I'm saying? The most, I got plenty of ways to take that pride up out your ass, man.
Well, the word was in the king's mouth. There fell a voice from heaven, saying,
O King Nebuchadnezzar, to thee it is spoken, the kingdom is departed from thee.
Just like that. Just like that. You know what I'm saying? Nebuchadnezzar talking shit, chest all puffed out. You know what I'm saying? Talk about me, I, this what I did. And what the Lord say? The Lord said, O King Nebuchadnezzar, to thee it is spoken, the kingdom is departed from me. Meaning you ain't king no more. Just because I said so. Just like that.
And they shall drive thee from men, and thy dwelling shall be with the beasts of the field. They shall make thee to eat grass as oxen, and 7 times shall pass over thee, until thou know that the Most High ruleth in the kingdom of men.
Did know what I'm saying? That 7 times shall pass over thee, you know what I'm saying? It's gonna be enough time for you to understand not to jack with me, man. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna leave you in this state until you realize that I'm the Most High. Until you realize that I'm a terrible demon-like power that you should not F with, man.
And giveth it to whomsoever he will. The same hour was the thing fulfilled upon Nebuchadnezzar.
I said, then the Lord didn't even waste no time. He told him he was going to turn him into an animal, and within an hour he turned his ass into an animal.
And he was driven from men, and did eat grass as oxen, and his body was wet with the dew of heaven, till his hairs were grown like eagle's feathers, and his nails like bird's claws.
Bro, can you imagine that? A person, you know what I'm saying? A person growing eagle's feathers and bird's claws, you know what I'm saying? It was just an hour ago he was the king in rulership, with his chest puffed out, talking about worship my image or I'm gonna burn you up. How soon they forget, and how fast do the mighty fall, man? You know.
And at the end of the days, I, Nebuchadnezzar, lifted up mine eyes unto heaven, and mine understanding returned unto me. And
say, my understanding returned unto me. After all that time, that 7 represented a complete amount of time for him to be in that beast-like state.
I blessed the Most High, and I praised and honored him that liveth forever, whose dominion is an everlasting dominion, and his kingdom is from generation to generation.
He changed that tune up, didn't he? You know what I'm saying? At first it was, I did this, me, my statue, worship me when you heard a flute. Yeah, what happened? Yeah, the arms was too short, man. Now all of a sudden, you know what I'm saying? Mine understanding returned unto me, and I blessed the Most High, Yahawah. I praised and honored him that liveth forever, Yahawah, whose dominion is an everlasting dominion, and his kingdom is from generation to generation. Yeah, he changed that tune up real goddamn quick.
And all the inhabitants of the earth are reputed as nothing. And he doeth according to his will in the army of heaven, and among the inhabitants of the earth. And none can stay his hand or say unto him, What doest thou?
You see that? He sound like he might as well have on a garment. You know what I'm saying? He might as well go out and prophesy. You know? He in front of the whole congregation giving it up to the Most High. You know what I'm saying? Because his arms was too short, man.
At the same time my reason returned unto me, and for the glory of my kingdom mine honor and brightness returned unto me. And my counselors and my lords sought unto me, and I was established in my kingdom, and excellent majesty was added unto me. Now I, Nebuchadnezzar, praise and extol and honor the King of heaven, all whose works are truth, and his ways judgment. And those that walk in pride, he is able to abase.
You know what I'm saying, man? And that's just the truth of the matter, man. And we ain't even in a position of rulership or nothing like that, man. But we have an understanding through the spirit and power of Yahawah Shem Yahweh Shai that there's no entity more powerful, man. You know? Pretty much that was the end of it. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, Lord willing, maybe this will turn into a series. Just going through the scriptures, man. Getting into the scriptures, and you run across these stories. Matter of fact, I'm gonna close out on one of my favorites, man. Romans 15:4. Yeah, man, because these stories, man, is more than just a story. These are historical accounts involving our people, man, and our power, giving us these examples. You know, this is Romans chapter 15:4. It says, "For whatsoever things were written aforetime were written for our learning, that we through patience and comfort of the scriptures might have hope." You know what I'm saying? And with stories like Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, and Daniel, and, you know, all these different prophets that faced death, you know, and were delivered. You know, Paul being lowered down on the rope, you know, Paul was broken out of jail a couple of times, you know. So, with that being said, you know, hey, man, all praises to Yahawah, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai for this truth. You know what I'm saying? Double honors to the apostles and elders at Great Millstone, and blessings to the elect. Shalom.